Hello, everybody. My name is Mia. I'm with the Hollywood Junket, and I'm here with a very special guest today, Phillip Solomon. Phillip, thank you so much for being here. Tell us, how are you feeling? You won $75,000. That is iconic within itself. Let us know how you're feeling right now.
I'm feeling good. I think whenever anyone utilizes the adjective like iconic about me, I'm like, yes. But anyway, I think that I thought in watching it back, I was gonna be a little bit more like upset, a little bit more like emotional, a little bit more triggered. But like I got to really watch it as a viewer and watch myself kind of make peace with the arc that I had, where I got to learn so much about me and overcome a million different like fears and things that were holding me back. And I get to really take a step of it outside and say that was single-handedly the greatest experience of my entire life. And I'm also blessed enough that people like me, whether it's middle school kids that feel like they don't fit in, or people of color, or people who speak differently, that my story resounded with so many different people. That's amazing.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. You're very relatable, very kind, and we saw that throughout the season. So we just want to thank you for being authentic and true to yourself. You're a fitness guy, obviously. You look incredible, by the way. I
Thank
need
you
the
so
workout.
much.
Yes,
I
I need the workout routine.
got you. Easy.
Yeah. The weights in the excursion seemed like they weren't bothering you one bit. You seemed to get through that excursion very well. David, on the other hand, seemed to at times be struggling a little bit. Do you think that that might have been like an act with David, or part of like the strategy he was building, or what do you think about that regarding the excursion?
No, I mean, I just think that David has very functional strength. He's a big guy, but he
Yeah.
doesn't do as much weightlifting like as I do literally like twice a day. And so I think that like when you see the arms shaking, the confidence shaking a little bit, you're like, "Oh, this is real." And I think that it was one of the first excursions that didn't give me a heart attack, which is great because we love that. And no matter what, they're like, you know what? Because I was like, I'm afraid of heights and water. We're like, we're gonna throw you off of something into some water. I'm like, cool, great, easy. But this one, they were like, hold heavy weights over your head. And I was like, wait, yes, this I can do. And so you really do see that once he lets go of his and he drops, I hold on to my own for an extra like 6 minutes because I was waiting for the briefcase after the one I got. My arms and shoulders were like, no, ma'am, you're not. But at the time, I thought I could hold it like just a few more, but like it was a long time. Like we were holding that excursion from start to finish. For me, I was the only one that was holding like the longest, like all the way out. It was about an hour. And if you really look, yeah, it was an hour of just like holding it up. It was so bad.
Wow. Did you do any like breathing techniques, or did you like repeat a phrase in your head just to kind of get you through that hour?
So no one else has asked this. So like this is an exclusive here. I'm a musical theater guy. You're like, I'm not surprised by this. Anyway, I'm a musical theater guy. So I thought of some of my favorite musicals, and because like I don't know how many Broadway musicals you've like heard or listened to, but I started to sing the score in order. You know how like you know what song goes into what song. So I made it through all of Rent Act One. I made it through Act One, all of Rent. I went from the beginning till the end, and I'm just like, I'm so spaced out and not there. And how that really hurt me, I think, eventually, is that I couldn't remember all the numbers that were left. Because after they close it down, they move it over. And so you're like, what was that one again? Because you're so in the zone that you're like 1.75, wasn't that 1.25? You're like, which one's the next one? So like I was trying to remember the numbers, but I was like, oh no, this is bad.
But you did amazing. I mean, you held on for the entire hour. I probably could have lasted like 2 minutes and then I would have been, I'm out.
It was so hard, but I also think that if it was earlier on
Mhm.
in the competition, I wouldn't have lasted as long as I did. I have this ability to prioritize a competitive spirit over my skill set. You saw when I didn't do heights or swimming and I grabbed the highest case for Letty. She won because I grabbed that one. And so for me, it was a matter of like, apparently I have this weird sense of like, fight or flight. And I say, well, I'm afraid of that, but I'm afraid of losing even more. I've never had a reaction with an iguana in my whole life, but they were so big, huge. And in looking back at it now, I was like, why didn't you just say, no, I'm good and leave? I was like, apparently you don't have that. Instead, you're like, oh, I'd rather do something I'm scared of.
I love that. You saw it all the way through and you did it. So I'm gonna have to try that technique next time I'm lifting weights or something. Think of the Rent
You
musical.
have to tell yourself, and I say it out loud. I think even that, I'm like, you can do hard things. And
Yeah,
it sounds lame and stupid, but I think that once you start to make it this big extravagant saying or this big extravagant this or that or whatever else, you start to be like so cheesy and lame or whatever else. But if you just say, I can do hard things, it's easy enough to remember and easy enough that you can use it every day in different situations.
absolutely. Thank you so much for that tip.
Of course.
And speaking of other contestants on the show, what was your immediate reaction when you found out that David used to be on Survivor?
I think half of me was upset
Mhm.
and let down and feeling betrayed. And then the longer I sat with it, I thought to myself, the other half of me is a reality TV connoisseur. Pop culture, I know it all. Every housewife franchise, drag race, anything, Survivor, Big Brother, whatever else, as far as like America. But still, that half of me was like, you know what? Applause. And here's why.
Mhm.
He had to navigate the game and get the respect that he got without the resume, without the clout. I
Mhm.
think that Parvati and Dr. Will had the ability to come in and us say, oh, we know them, we know what they're capable of. And everyone almost kind of like put them on a pedestal because of what they did before. For that man to have the reality TV show resume he does and still be able to do that well in the game without it, who am I to be like, I'm mad at you?
Absolutely. And we know we'll be seeing more of you in the future with acting, more reality show competitions. Had you made it to the end, who do you picture going up against?
I would have pictured going up against probably Letty and CK. And I'm going to tell you why, only because a lot of people don't realize this, but CK was injured. She
Mm,
has on a knee brace as of like this episode from when she fell off the beam, which I'm going to tell you this right now. It was scarier in person. I literally was like, that girl just died. Like I thought that was it. As soon as she went flying off that, I was like, oh my God, it was bad. And so she had developed like a limp on one leg. They put her in a knee brace. And so if the season two finale was as physical as season number one, I think we were all willing to bring her, not because we thought she deserved to be there, but just because we were like, well, that's easier. Okay,
absolutely. And a couple more questions here for
sure.
you. What do you think that Letty was your strongest ally during the game?
I think she was. I think above water, Letty was my strongest ally. Below water, David was probably my strongest ally. And if you really look back at it, what David and I did is we just promised never to go for one another. We didn't help each other, but we just said, if it comes down to you and someone else, I'll go for the someone else before you. And so, like, that's why, like, we have a good rapport. The conversation that you guys saw in the episode that took place yesterday, it feels out of nowhere. It feels like we connected later in the game. We had talks like that every day on the island from day one. And so it does when you heard David on two episodes ago say, I probably trust Philip the most. If I were a viewer, I'd be like, why? You don't know that man. But we had been talking consistently every day. We woke up before the sun because there's no like clocks or anything on the island. So we woke up at 6 a.m. and he would have his coffee and work out with me and we talk like exercise and fitness and family and stuff like that. So like him and I were tight. And so I definitely think that we played as far as we could until we had to go for one another. So do I think this was a good time to eliminate me in knowing how physical the season one finale was? Yes.
Absolutely. Philip, thank you so much for being on this interview today. We really appreciate it. You were true to yourself throughout the entire season, and I need the workout routine ASAP, Philip. So thank you so much for being
Literally
on here.
hit me up, TikTok, Instagram, P Solomon 12. Happy to help you out with anything. This has been an absolute pleasure. If even a little bit of my story resonated with you, it means the world. So thank you for letting me live authentically and sincerely and hopefully as obnoxiously as possible.
Philip, you're so amazing. Thank you so much for this interview. We really appreciate it.
All right, have an awesome day.
You too, Philip. Take care. Thank you.